all across the world, the country, but especially here in Atlanta, we continue to remember and honor the lives of two civil rights giants, Congressman John Lewis and Reverend C.T. Vivian. There have been vigils and memorials happening across town since the passing of both men. Local activists say they're able to continue the fight against injustice because of Congressman Lewis's inclusive leadership, because he made it his mission to work directly with a new generation of civic-minded men, women, and our youth. They say they feel well-equipped to carry the torch. The same can be said for C.T. Vivian, whom is also honored after his passing for his lifelong work to acquire racial and social justice for Black people in all areas of American society. Both men being remembered for their fearless fight for equality. And I was watching something this morning, and a few things struck me. The first thing was one of his friends said about Congressman Lewis. He said, you know, he didn't make you feel guilty. He made you feel responsible. And I loved that quote so much because I think that is just what he stood for, right? There's always something to be done. There's always something we can be doing to further equality and justice. And the other thing that one of his friends said was a way to honor his legacy specifically is to go out and vote. He nearly gave his life for everyone to vote. So vote in this upcoming election. That's something we can all do. I love that, Christine.
Yeah. Cara, I was trying to stay off social media. I was just really trying to be in the moment. But when I did glance this weekend and just seeing all the tributes and the way that these two men impacted so many people that we personally know because we are in Atlanta, and what an inspiration that their work gave so many people. It was awesome. And the work continues, as you said. Get out and vote. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I was at Michelle Ellis, who works at 11 Alive, had that International Youth Awards that she puts on, and he was there one year. And I just I figured out he was there, and I went and I just kind of stood in his aura and just sort of watched him from afar,
in his presence.
I couldn't even ask him for a picture. I was just so enamored to be close to him. So he has two great losses over the weekend, but we will continue to carry on their legacies.